Well, hello. This is Jason Duff with Earl of Fife Games. I am the author of Heroes and Hardships and other games by Earl of Fife Games, but primarily Heroes and Hardships. If you don't know who I am, I thought, I keep saying that I'm going to do something more regular of like kind of what we're doing and what we're up to, but it's just it's tough to keep on it like I should. I'm just busy with Heroes and Hardships and the company and other things too. But all that aside, let's talk a little bit about what we're gonna do in 2025. It's January 9th, and it is a horrifically cold and snowy day in Colorado where I am. Not advisable. Typically we get pretty good weather. Man, this sucks. I'm in here with my coat on in my in my office still, um, and yeah, I have a little bit of time to kill. So I thought I'd talk about some stuff. Obviously, we had a soft announcement about our Dragonbane adventure slash setting that we're gonna do, and we are still gonna do that in 2025, I believe. Cody, one of my writing partners, my primary one, is he is still working on that, but right now I'm going to focus on something else. So in the spring, what month that is going to be, I don't really know. It's probably going to be either March or April. We are going to do a Kickstarter for the GM screen for Heroes and Hardships. This is it'd be nice to have the GM screen for both at the table play and digital. It's going to be a four-panel screen like you would see in most four-panel screens. Do I have one handy I can grab and show? Yeah, so this is the Star Trek second edition one, I believe, that I'm going to pop up here. So it's going to look it's going to be like this, four-panel screen, the edges, the inside, the interior. So yeah, it's gonna be something like this. I do not know where I'm gonna get it printed yet. Good chance it'll still be printed in Lithuania with Standard and Preza. But it's gonna be a legit GM screen, not like a insert type of thing. That'll be available in physical and digital format. There might be some things that go along with that, kind of that might make things easier as well for stretch goals and stuff. I haven't decided everything yet, but that's kind of where I'm leading to. The idea is that we're going to offer the GM screen, we'll offer the core rule book again, and various other H&H products, well, all of them in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully bring in new players to the game, as is my strategy, which is well-known strategy to offer supplements and the core rulebook hand in hand. So you can say, "Oh, what is this game? I've never heard of it before. I didn't back it this time, so I'll back it the next time." So I suspect that we won't need a reprint on that project, but maybe later in the year we will. And so if we need a reprint, we'll reprint the core rulebook, and it'll have all the errata, um, in the book, and maybe a new character sheet, which is something I kind of am looking to do as well. So yeah, that'll happen in the spring sometime. That's almost 100% set that I will do that. So you have a chance to get the GM screen, and if you haven't got anything Heroes and Hardships, then you can get the core rulebook. So that's probably not who I'm talking to right now, but you can do that too. Um, so what other things in let's kind of step back a bit about kind of things that are happening in our industry that we should look at, which is going to impact me. One is the GSPR in the EU. This is some regulation for safety of of things being sold into the EU, which I understand that for some things that's probably a good thing to have, but books is quite ridiculous to me. And it may impact my ability to sell physical products into the EU if I can't come up with a way to solve this problem. Um, I don't know a whole bunch about it, but it does cause some issues, which may force me to sell products into the EU a little differently. Instead of like just offset print, I might have to do something like a either print on demand or something along those lines. It's not really ideal for me, for anyone, for that matter. But we'll see. I have some things to go over, some people to meet, and so on and so forth. But you know, uh, it's really quite ridiculous. I'm a fan of regulation in when it makes sense, but this is seems way over the top and quite silly. I don't sell enough books into the EU to really, spend a ton of money for a presence in the EU. I guess we'll see what that would cost. But yeah, that's out there too. So just keep that in mind if down the road I'm like, yep, can't send it into the EU, or I have different rules for if I'm selling certain things in the EU, it might be print on demand through Amazon or even drive through RPG. That would be my absolute last um, last thing I would do. I almost would rather just not sell physical into the EU than use drive through RPG POD. Um, so that is there as well. As far as other things that you should be aware of, we just recently, this week, released our first of the Ancestry Bestiary books specifically. So the Rise of the Orc, which has a whole bunch of things in relation to orcs in it. It has, I mean, I could read off what it all has, but it has new abilities, new ancestry traits, new manifestations. Um, new equipment effects, whole 9 yards, and it has 10 PL 1 through 3 adversaries. So you have 10 orc or orc related adversaries. There's a warg in there, so 9 orc and 1 warg. Um, and so you can use those for all your games. It's heavily fantasy focused, but there's a space orc, with a wah in there as well. Yeah, so you can use that in your not 40K games if you want. So yeah, it's 5.99 on drive-through, PDF only. Um, that being said, the rest of the year I don't know what I am exactly going to do. There are things that I want to do. I want to release our first major setting. We had Dungeons Deep and Caverns Old, about a 100-page book for Heroes and Hardships, and converted to fifth edition D&D. Um, so that may see another release for it as well, but it's not what I would consider 100% a complete setting. Um, you have adventures, and then these setting adventures, and then just full campaign settings, right? So my hope would be to release Stormbolter at the end of the year. That'd be like my last Kickstarter of the year, probably in November or October. And you would get a nice chunky 200 plus page book with Stormbolter, and that is my Roman sci-fi setting that I've been running games in for a while now. So in between then and now, I don't know what that will be. There's even a possibility that Stormbolter doesn't get made this year. Um, I am notoriously bad at long-term planning for this company, of like what I'm going to do. So I think that I can't promise anything at this point. All I know is I'm slowly working on these things. And in between, I don't know. I would like to do. I did release a poll on the Discord. If you're not in my Discord, please go and follow the link below and go ahead and join our Discord. But of things people might want to see, and it's pretty much fell in line with what I assumed I would see. And that's either setting, campaign settings or rules, rule expansions. So the problem with rule expansions by itself, it's very difficult to just say, oh well, that's only going to be for people who actually want to play Heroes and Hardships. Probably, I can kind of do it the same way as I've done, or I will do the GM screen, so that is possible. But at this point, I don't know if that would be a valid thing to put on Kickstarter just yet. Um, so I don't know. I think we really need to impact people by saying, hey, here's this cool thing you might like for this system you might like, and have them kind of come in on that sort of whim. Um, that's kind of my strategy at this point until we get more popular. So, that is what I'm planning to do. Otherwise, I don't know. There's things that are possible. I have several, other smaller settings that we could do. There's Abandon All Hope, which needs a Heroes and Hardships version and a second edition. Um, and that is possible that you'll see a AAH conversion sometime in 2025. I think it's probably pretty likely. A lot of the writing can be kind of lifted from first edition into second edition. Um, I'll add H&H rules, change some things that in the setting weren't my favorite. Redo the art, and that sort of thing. So that's possible. Obviously, there's also possibilities for non H&H releases, but that's not really the. I'm not going to speak to that too much here. So yeah, these are things that are all I'm working on in the background. The smaller releases, I like to do them, but they're not financially viable for anything really. You sell 10 copies and you make $50. I mean, and you spend, you spend 40 hours working on it. It's silly, right? Um, but it's my hope that we'll continue to grow and I'll be able to, be more. Be able to release things in a quicker fashion than ever before, either through help from others or you know just being able to give more of my time to it. So I've been looking through some of my old projects that are half finished, like the investigation manual, for instance, which was originally supposed to be a part of Dungeons Deep and Caverns Old. But I felt that I couldn't guarantee to be able to do the adventure with that, and that was the whole idea. So, I would do the um, investigation manual and then have a adventure that uses those rules in it. So, you think of, I don't know what it would be. Probably I would do something modern with that, like a cop drama or something. So yeah, I think that there's still a lot more we can do, and of course the big thing that's been in process for over a year is our Foundry development. You can play Heroes and Hardships on Foundry VTC very easily. You can actually also play it on Roll20 if you want, but Foundry is very powerful. James, my Foundry developer, has done an amazing job, and he continues to work on it. And part of that Kickstarter with the GM screen will also have the Foundry module available. So you can get the core content Foundry module there. So it's all looking really good. I'm about to start a playtest game with the latest iteration of it, starting next week actually, in my Blightland setting, which is kind of under development. This is the way I do it is I'll run a couple games, short three, 4 session games in a setting, kind of get a feel for it. Do I like it? Do I think it has, the is it interesting enough to publish it? That sort of thing, right? And just kind of see and play around with things. So we're going to do the Blightlands. The Blightlands, for those that don't know, it's kind of a mix of The Witcher and Ravenloft a bit. If I had to give it like a name like that, and it's not terribly fleshed out yet, so I'm going to be working on that too. But I have a lot of these settings that I work through, and some of them I don't feel like, I did a French setting where it was just a bunch of vampires, and I didn't think it really worked for me. We played it, and we had a good time, but it is kind of some of the things are weird. But yeah, so sometimes I just say I don't think this is gonna work. So um, yeah, I just have a lot of ideas, and it's getting the words getting from my brain to the page, and then everything else is not easy. It's not an easy task. So kudos to anybody who's ever made a game. Even more kudos to anybody who's ever made a game and put it on Kickstarter or BackerKit or whatever. It's a tough occupation. If this is your main occupation, wow. You know, the margins are slim, and and it's hard to do something creative and something in the vein of art and have it critiqued and that sort of thing, right? It's kind of tough, and you want to reach people, and you want to tell them about it and tell them why you think it's good, not necessarily better than anything else. That's a personal opinion. So yeah, I'm excited for the things we are able to drop, and hopefully it will be sooner than later. And yeah, I'm currently, I always like to talk about what I'm currently playing and what I'm currently running. So I'm playing in a Cyberpunk Red game. This is my like third or fourth Cyberpunk Red campaign as a player. I'm playing a Netrunner in 2077, so all the quick hacks. Cyberpunk Red, I like it, so check it out. And I am running Wrath and Glory, 40k Wrath and Glory. Pretty interesting system. I like it pretty well. I think that we just had our fifth session, so I'm running that. We got to take a break for about a month, and we're gonna do some H&H. Yeah, and that's really it right now. In the future, maybe back to Paladin, reskinned over Pendragon 6th edition, maybe. Maybe toward 2E. I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah, there's games. There's so many games. I'm a big believer in playing as many games as you can, seeing what's out there. Variety is wonderful. Yeah, don't play the same game all the time. It's just I know that it's easier to do that, right? It would be so easy for me to run only H&H, but I wouldn't learn anything, and I think I would lose a lot of I wouldn't H&H would become a burden to me. I think if that was all I was running ever, it would just not be. I would have fun with it, but at the same time, it would be like you know I'm sick of this, right? And I don't want to have to be forced to run a certain system for some other reason, right? That's not the way I am. Like if I had a bunch of people say, we only want to play D&D 5e, I just wouldn't play with those people. I want to run what I want to run, and I have a group that, pretty much whatever I'm going to run, they're going to play. And some, I have more than just like 4 people, so they're interested in that, I think. Um, so yeah, and the same way with me playing, I'd really like to play some other games that are not available to me via GM. So it's possible. We'll see. But yeah, I encourage people to branch out. Right, if you only play D&D or you only play whatever, branch out and play other games. I think it's good. It's a good experience to understand what you like and what you don't. And if you're a designer, I think it's imperative to play different games. If you only play D&D and you want to design something and you're only playing D&D and that's the only thing even if it's for D&D, even if you're designing a game that's like a D&D, supplement of some sort of campaign setting, maybe it's a D&D clone, an OSR clone, something like that. If that's all you're playing, you're not gonna learn, and I think it will hurt your design. You just don't. You're not the only person that's ever had ideas that are good, um, and it's okay to see what those are from other people. And you might not see those by just doing the same old of playing D&D, right? So I think that's very important. It's very important for me, and it's what I do, and it's what I will continue to do. I think if I stuck with one system, I would get bored with this hobby, and yeah, I don't want that. Um, yeah, so that's about it. Remember, I'm very available on my Discord or through email if you must. That's all fine. We are about to. We're partially done fulfilling our latest Kickstarter, which was the Heart of Tiberius for Mothership. Just an aside, I know it's not H&H related, but that's almost finished. That will be finished, I assume, next week as far as the shipping. Um, so those are going out, and there will be an H&H version. I don't know when. It's a sci-fi horror game, obviously. There will be an H&H version of that, though, as well. I don't know in what form. I may just convert it and put it on drive-through and just shrug my shoulders, right? But yeah, so I look forward to doing more. And it just depends on what I have time for. It's not even is it going to be successful when it's just a small like non-Kickstarter. If it's a Kickstarter and I know I need to do offset print and I know I need bespoke art or primarily bespoke art or a lot of it, that's different. That cost actual money, not just I can produce a small supplement for almost zero, maybe some stock art, and you know, so it's not that big a deal, and I just want to give stuff to people to be able to use. I figured, hey, you have fantasy campaigns and you want um, what's one of the biggest things in fantasy campaigns? Orcs. Honestly, I've never really ever used orcs in my games that I've run. Like for whatever reason, they've not been a main antagonist for any of the games. I can't even remember, but it is a main thing. I think the only time I've really, even as a player, really encountered many orcs was in Lord of the Rings games. And you're gonna come against goblins and stuff like that. But primarily, a lot of fantasy games do kind of turn that orc um, orc screw a bit, and so I figured I should let people, and it's also potentially for PCs, right? You can create PCs with these orc ancestry traits and make an orc player or player character. So use it however you would like, right? It says all the options in there you might need. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope to do another one of these soon. So stay tuned on what we're announcing. And when that Kickstarter pre-launch page comes up, please follow it. And so you'll be notified when it's going to happen. I think the last thing I have is just keep playing the games and find a game that you like and then find another one. Support different games. You know, uh, Try different things. Maybe it won't be your cup of tea, but maybe it will. And so I just suggest just trying stuff. And yeah, I do thank you. And if you have questions, Discord or here in the YouTube videos, fine. Thank you very much. Bye.